Tell me how you do it now. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Tell me how you do it now. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. I would love to be playing the Tramps' Disco Inferno right now, but unfortunately, due to copyright protection, I cannot play their material. But I can sing it. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Tell me how you do it now. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Tell me how you do it now. Burn, baby. No copyright is being infringed as I sing. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Tell me how you do it now. Burn, baby, burn. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, we are on fire. And when things are on fire, there's one thing that Caution Squirrel wants you to remember. Ladies and gentlemen, God damn it, Goddess bless, guard your nuts. For real, guard your nuts. Caution Squirrel would like to remind you to guard your nuts. See, squirrels bury their nuts in the ground, so in case of a fire, guess what? There's nuts! And guess what? Sometimes those nuts that the squirrels buried in the ground start new life. A tree springs forth from the Mother Earth, and the squirrel and the forest recovers. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Tell you how we do it now. Oh, I forgot to do the intro. Hi, this is Disco Inferno. Woo! I don't know what day it is. Fireman Kenny, what day is it?
Oh, Tim, it's September 11th.
Oh. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, well, going forward, burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Tell me how you do it now. Burn, baby, burn. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is Timothy White Eagle's Medicine Show. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're watching, all 4 or 5 of you. And so welcome. Last week I got my first hate mail. I was very excited, and it was simply put. He was succinct, and he said, not funny, definitely vulgar. And I thought, well, that's just what I was going for, and you're only half right, because last week's show was fucking awesome. If you didn't see it, you should go check it out. And what was last week's show? Fireman Kenny, what did we do last week? It was in the backyard.
Wasn't it White House, the Red White
That's
House?
right, it was the Red House Revisited. Really solid, tight. My friend Machine Dazzle said to me, that was high and tight. And I said, did I look stoned on camera? Because that was not the intent. And he said, no, like you looked like a military haircut. Focused, intense, and to the point. And I was like, oh, good, because I don't want to look like a rambling fool in somebody's basement, like where the mom is going to come in any minute trying to do laundry. By the way, I'm in my basement. And so I had to warn my Airbnb guests that there would be strange sounds coming from the basement while they cook dinner. Because they live above me, and then somebody else lives, we live in the apartment above that. So we're down in subterranean. Oh my. That's right, baby. We got special effects. That's right. Special effects. There is a poisonous cloud heading towards Seattle. I don't know if you've heard, but it's getting worse. It's moving toward Seattle. And over in Shelton right now, the air is actually #hazardous. Sending out warnings. The air is hazardous. And what's the rating for air in Seattle?
Very unhealthy.
Oh, Seattle air is very unhealthy, which is one step better than hazardous. So, here we are in my basement bunker. We're hunkered down. We have 45 gallons of water, and we have enough food to last for 3.5 years. And that comes from my Mormon upbringing, where you always plan for disaster because you never know when disaster is going to strike when you're a Mormon. And so they teach you to plan for disaster because they don't want to have to take care of your sorry ass because you didn't plan. So they used to plan. When I was a kid, I kid you not, my closet was like 7 feet by 14 feet long, and it was filled with emergency food. And we were set to survive. We had survival food. And survival food meant 1,000 pounds of wheat. And they were in these big barrels. And I remember my dad, when he got the barrels, they had this system, and you poke a hole in it, and you fill the barrel with CO2, and then you seal it. And the food is going to last like it did in the pyramids. Apparently, this is what the Egyptians did to make the grain last. And so all the oxygen is out of the barrels, and it's sealed in CO2. So the food was going to last forever, and we were going to eat it when the apocalypse comes. So we had like 500 or 1,000 pounds of wheat, and the whole plan was this. We had trays and potting soil in my closet, like I don't know, like a couple of big bags of potting soil, because apparently we weren't going to be able to use the dirt from outside. And we had these trays, and we're going to line the trays with the dirt, and then we were going to sprinkle the wheat on it, and then we were going to grow wheatgrass. And we had a special juicer that was a hand crank, because after the apocalypse comes, you're not going to have electricity. So we had a hand crank wheatgrass juicer, and our survival was going to depend on making this flatbread out of the hand ground grain. And we had a hand grinder for the grain too. And we had this special salt that was filled with all the nutrients that you are going to be missing and needing post-apocalypse. And so the special salt mixed with the ground bread, or with ground flour, mixes bread. And then that's your staple. And then you take the wheatgrass and you cut it and you put it through the juicer, and that's all your vitamins. That's why this system was so amazing. And so we were going to have wheatgrass and flatbread and powdered milk, and we were going to survive the apocalypse, and everything was going to be fine. And then we were going to usher in the second coming of the Lord, and then the Mormons were going to take over the government, and it was going to be paradise. So that was my childhood, deeply steeped. My childhood was deeply steeped in the apocalypse. When Anwar Sadat got killed in like 1982 or so, I was certain that he was the Antichrist, and that not because I knew anything about him or politics or anything. I just knew that he was a major leader that got killed, and that as a Middle Eastern leader was supposed to die and come back to life, and that would be the Antichrist. So when Anwar Sadat got killed, me and my best friend Mike Berry were obsessed, and we were certain for 3 days that the apocalypse was going to start as soon as Anwar Sadat rose from the dead. And we waited, and 3 days came and went, and we were bare-knuckling it. Nothing happened. So, did you like that? A little smoke for dramatic effect. I've gone crazy with my power. Whoa! I have a smoke button, which is making me very happy. So Anwar Sadat did not come back to life, and was not actually did not actually usher in the apocalypse or the second coming of Christ and all that. So we're still waiting for the apocalypse, and it kind of hashtag no filter, by the way. Can I just say that? Hashtag no filter. I give you theater. This is real theater. This is not one of those Insta filters. No, this is old school. This is called Red Gel number R16. This is called Flaming Light Bulb on Behind Backdrop. This is called Paper Mache. This is how we did it old school. This was before there were filters and fucking little emoji ears. We had to make stuff from scratch when I was a boy, back before filters. So I'm bringing it to you old school. Remember, guard your nuts. Guard your nuts. So I'm gonna take this off because it's a lot. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me I'm so glad you're all here. And tonight, I want to talk about what I saw on the internet this morning. But first, I'm going to light a fire. Don't worry, Fireman Kenny is right here. So we have taken many precautions because, you have to contain your fire. Oh, Fireman Kenny, will you bring forward the box of divination? Thank you, Fireman Kenny. I will now reach into the box of divination to find tonight's divination. Ow. I'm always getting poked. There's all these sharp things in the box. Okay. Fireman Kenny, can you read that?
I can Johnny myself with 2 tennis balls.
Ooh, that's a good one. I can Johnny myself with 2 tennis balls. You may not know what that means, but I do. Knowing look. Fireman Kenny, will you remove the box of divination? Thank you, Fireman Kenny. Fireman Kenny is not a real fireman, but he plays one here with us.
I was a safety marshal on my floor at work once.
Oh, so you do have safety training.
Yeah.
That's great to know. Fireman Kenny was a safety marshal. Okay, so, that was not intentional. Everything's very precarious here. We want to welcome our ancestors with a hit of popper through their mask. Yes. Oh, there we go, Rich. There we go. So we want to welcome in all those allies that want to support our work tonight. And so we do that by offering my dead lover, Rich, some poppers. So he's all poppered up. Let's see if I can get the fire going. Oh, is it going to start? I did not test the fire ahead of time, so it may not work. Woo. Oh, I don't think it's going to go. Oh. Okay, well.
What's the fuel?
It's the alcohol. Oh.
It comes without.
No. Hold, please. I didn't put enough fuel in the firebox. I know you can't see what's here, but trust me, it's very exciting. Boop, boop. Okay, I think that's enough. Can you even see that? All that trouble for my little fire. But I wanted fire to be present because it is so present. Here's the thing about fire. It's all about consumption. It's consuming. And so, but before we get into that, I wanted to talk to you about one of my all-time favorite movies because I woke up and this dangerous bank of smoke was heading for Seattle. And I was like, oh, that's just like the movie The Fog, which came out in 1980, which I saw when I was 14 years old. And it came out right after my birthday. And I went with that same guy, Mike Berry, who was my best friend at the time. And he was really into horror movies. And I was like kind of timid and like, I don't know about horror. And so he drugged me to the Fog. And he wanted to go because he was straight and had this thing for gravelly voiced Adrienne Barbeau. And I don't know if you know Adrienne Barbeau, but she was built, bada boom, and then she had this really deep, sexy voice. And so Adrienne Barbeau plays a radio announcer, and she's up in a lighthouse above a small seaport town. And she's like, hello, this is Adrienne Barbeau. I'm sexy. And I want you to listen to my radio show all night. And so she does this radio show all night. And then they start to realize that people are being killed by something mysterious in the fog. And the fog fog is rolling into town, and Adrienne Barbeau is up in the lighthouse, and she's like, the fog is approaching Elm Street. Get away from the fog. The fog is approaching Sycamore. Get away from the fog. This is her microphone. I know I'm confusing you. This is her microphone, and she's like, get away from the fog. Get away. It'll eat you. And so the fog, and then finally you start to realize what's going on. And the fog is filled with zombie sailor pirate dudes. And they're like hacking people up with swords. And of course, fish hooks. They've got these like giant, I think they're actually the hooks we used as a kid bucking hay bales. These like big things. They have like a cross handle and a hook. If you're a country boy, you ever have to buck bales? Oh my God, that was the worst job ever. That was too much for this gay queen. Bucking hay bales? Please, y'all that did that, y'all did like, yeah, better than me. I could not handle that shit. Anyway, bucking hay bale hooks. So they finally start to figure out it's these pirate sailor dudes are killing everybody. And the movie, or the day, they are all getting ready to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the founding of the town. And so all through the movie, they're getting ready, and then they're having the founding day celebration. And then that night, exactly 100 years after the founding of their town, in comes the fog, and the fog starts killing people, and hooks, and Adrienne Barbeau's up in her lighthouse going, look out for the fog. And then they get to the church, and somehow like 5 or 6 of them end up at the church. And earlier, and it's John Carpenter. For real, great horror guy. But so John Carpenter directed, and the preacher had found his grandfather's diary. And in the diary, the grandfather's secret diary hidden. And so he finds it, and what's revealed but the real history of the town. And it turns out there was a boatload of lepers floating around needing a home, looking for a place to stay. You know, there was a leper colony in Washington. There was, yeah. And then it became like a hippie commune in like the 20s. Yeah, there was an alternative community on a coast, only accessible by water-ish. Like, there weren't a lot of roads. I don't think there were any roads, if I remember it. But there was this, like, they were living in paradise and having free sex and love and nakedness and debauchery. It was written about back then. And there are scandalous accounts. Vulgar, to use a word. Vulgar. So it was a vulgar community that had been a leper colony and then became a vulgar, New Age, bohemian kind of thing. But that was in 1920, and I don't think they used the word New Age. But I digress. I get confused. So we're back, and Adrienne Barbeau is in the church, and the preacher has found the history of the town, and it turns out the town is founded by people who sunk the boatload of lepers, but before they sunk it, they stole all their gold. All of it. All of the gold was stolen from the poor lepers. But I think they were kind of leper pirates, which it's confusing. But so the gold is stolen from the leper, because why would regular lepers have gold? John Carpenter. So I'm going to say there were leopard pirates. Leopard pirates. And they stole all their gold and they sunk their ship. And so the town feels guilty about all the gold. And the preacher who found his grandfather's diary goes, oh, look what else I found. And he finds a solid gold crucifix. This great crucifix made of solid gold. And it's the ill-gotten gain stolen from the leper pirates. And so there's a big, like, final moment where the preacher is trying to save his own life and give back the gold to the zombie pirates who've now revealed themselves. Because so far it's mostly been like, hooks and arms and like silhouettes and glowing eyes, but you haven't really seen the zombie pirates so much.
Spoiler alert.
But, spoiler alert, yeah, right? Fireman Kenny has never seen this movie, and we're watching it tonight, right after this episode. And so, spoiler alert, Fireman Kenny and I are watching it, and I just ruined the whole movie for him. So, but anyways, I lost my train. Okay, you know what that means.
The pirates.
Oh, guard your nuts.
The pirates.
So the Golden Cross and the priest. And the priest has the Golden Cross, and you see all the pirates, and they come for each other, and you think, the preacher is going to save himself and save the town and give him back the gold. And they both get a hold of it, and the whole Golden Cross like lights up, and it like fries in a sort of hellfire the priest. And then the fog and the zombie pirates retreat backward toward the sea, toward their haunted vessel, and they float out to the ocean. So, it's been an interesting week. Lots of things are on fire up and down the West Coast. And I was thinking about how the fog is all about this kind of redemption for the sins of your forefathers. And how this fire is so out of control because we're out of balance with the natural world, because we've burned so much of the fossil fuels and altered the environment, and so now we're not getting as much rain as we used to, and so now things are way drier than they used to. So now we are having what is possibly the worst fire season, certainly the most dollar amount damage of any fire season in history on the West Coast.
The biggest in acreage, too.
The biggest acreage.
As well as money, too.
As well as dollars of any fire in... Well, I guess it's not a single fire season.
Right.
Okay, so then a couple more things. Just FYI, in case you weren't sure about... Oh! I gotta be careful. That jumped at me. I don't know if you saw that, but that was a flame. Mercury is... Not Mercury. Mars. Mars is in retrograde. It's going to be a mess for 2 weeks. Mars is in retrograde starting like 2 days ago. And then on top of that, as if that were not enough, what with the murder hornets and the Donald Trump and the fire and Mars in retrograde, we also are at the peak of hurricane season. This is the pinnacle. Doesn't mean that there's a point when they can predict the most turbulence on the oceans, and it doesn't mean anything other than this is the peak. It'll get less intense from here. But this moment right now that we are in today is the peak of hurricane season. And so here we are.
And it's been a record-breaking season as well.
Oh, yeah, and that was the other part. Thank you, Fireman Kenny. It's been a record-breaking hurricane season as well, as far as numbers of storms, tropical depressions, tropical storms, et cetera, et cetera. We are having a record season all across everything. I know it's annoying, but it's. I love the smoke. It's making me super happy. Fireman Kenny, whoa! I think the fog might ignite the flames. Like, it feels like the flames are jumping every once in a while when a poof of smoke goes through them. Is smoke machine fog flammable?
No.
No? Fireman Kenny knows he had a smoke machine at How old were you when you bought your first smoke machine?
My dad bought it, but I was like 11.
Fireman Kenny.
10 or 11.
Fire tending starts young. Fireman Kenny had his first smoke machine at 11 or maybe even 10. He was really into Halloween and really into scaring people, which is funny because he's not very scary now, but at least to me. But
some of the kids would point out, they'd be like, "Those look like cereal boxes." Like when I used to make the tombstones out of cereal boxes, and they would like, because like kids.
Yeah. So that's hysterical. So the kids are like, "Oh, not realistic. This is not Hollywood quality."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everyone's a critic.
Don't I know it? This is vulgar and not funny. I swear I want that as a tattoo. I really do.
that's like the motto of 2020, I think.
You are
Everyone's
vulgar and not funny. It's certainly Trump's.
That, and also what I just said before.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I digress. Oh, so things are fucked. You know, things are on fire. And so I wanted to talk about consumption. And I wanted to call something else into the world besides consumption. And if you're watching, I want to ask you something for real. Are you ready to change how much you consume? Because we all got to start working on that particular piece. We got to stop consuming so damn much. Because we are on fire, which is an expression of consumption, because we have overconsumed and created so much carbon in the sky. So, I'm just putting it out to the world and to my crazy friends. Can we start consuming less? Can we continue our... What? Can we continue our path to using less? I know lots of people are already working on that. So I don't mean to besmirch anyone or to like act like people aren't already doing that. But I am already digging into it. I have been for years, and I'm asking myself some really important questions. One really hard one for me is that how much I have to travel because of work and passion things I'm passionate about. And so I'm really struggling with that whole I got frequent flyers last year before the COVID. What? Me? Yeah, or not just frequent flyers, I got Delta medallions. Yeah. And so I'm really sitting with flying and how much flying I have to do for work and things I love. And so so that's part of my scene. So I'm just putting it out to the world, and maybe we all could look at that, and probably should have been a while ago, but it's never too late. Let's hop in there. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can turn this ship around, or at least slow it down a little bit before we go right over the cliff. So that's my thought for today. Can we all consume less? It's not rocket science. It's not some big other thing. But I did want to go back to the idea of sins of our fathers, because we are literally paying the price for balls that got rolling that were brought forward by two key theories and a sub-theory. Patriarchy, capitalism, with a big booster shot from Christianity. So, essentially, those energies and philosophies trained a country to behave in a certain way. Man shall have domination over the beasts of the field and the blah, 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 was one of the foundational principles of Western expansion. The idea that white Christianity was supposed to spread and take over and was rightfully the dominator of the world. And that kind of fucked us. And then capitalism kind of fucked us. And then wrap it all up with patriarchy, which is all wrapped up with both of those things anyway. And here we are. And the zombie pirate lepers are knocking at the gate. And they're going, you got a price to pay. And we know that you're the grandson of the preacher who fucked us anyway. But we don't care. You know why? Because we're zombie leper pirates. And we're here to make sure you pay the price. So we're here now paying a price that's been built for hundreds of years. And that's fine. But yeah, so the fog is here with us. And the zombie leper pirates are here. And we got to figure out how to give them back their cross of gold and try not to get electrocuted when we do it. And turn the ship around, and then maybe the fog will recede. Ta-da! So, thank you all for coming. I'm going to do a quick wrap-up. And I just want to say, how about if we all take a breath in? been reading a lot of John Trudell lately. He's a Native American philosopher and activist. And one of the things that he really tried to instill throughout his career, many different books and writings, was that the people who think they're in control and have all the power are not the people who have the power. That we actually have the power, but we have been conditioned to believe we don't have any. And in his worldview, the power is specifically in thinking individually, being creative individually, and then coming together as a collective and joining those 10 million different thoughts and voices together and letting that power unite to correct the ills. And the illusion that the authoritarians and the fascists and that the controlling forces have is that they have all the power. They believe it too. They think they own it. They think they have it. They think they have what they need to control and dominate. But the truth is that their systems are so based in ideologies that they're trapped in a way and they're stuck. And they won't be able to grow and deal with a rapidly moving trickster, comedian, crazy person. And I'm not just saying me, I'm saying you. I'm saying invite in trickster. I'm saying invite in your allies and ancestors and your archetypes and start to dream about how to make the world a better place. I invite you all to bite into that dream and consider, how can you make a difference? What is your unique medicine within this calamity? And keep learning and keep growing. And remember, fear is an illusion. It's energy trapped in a story. So if you can relieve the story, if you can untie the knot of fear, the story, the threads, if you can loosen them, you release that energy. And when you release that energy, you can build with it, you can create with it, you can dream with it. And one final story. My friend Phoenicia, wildest woman I ever met. Phoenicia told this story about her own personal vision quest she took when she was about 19. She was crazy as fuck, and she went walking across Death Valley. And she just went walking, prompted by some kind of psychosis, spiritual experience that sent her on her way. She started walking, and she had no water, no food, barefoot hippie in the desert, walking and walking and walking. And she talked about how when she was just about to pass out in the middle of nowhere, she found water. And so she was able to drink from, there was like some shitty little farm that had a few head of cattle and water coming up for them. So she's able to drink water and keep going. She kept walking. And just when she's about to pass out from lack of food, she found a jackrabbit in a fence. And so she was able to get some food in her. She walked another day and found a road and figured her journey was over. But what she testified, literally, to me, was that moment with surrender. That when you can find that place of surrender, you will have everything you need. You will have what's essential. And I had a remembrance of that story when I put together today's set. When I put together this beautiful thing in about an hour and a half. And I just happened to have every single element, like as if I had planned all this out and worked on it for days. Not a spoiler alert because it's at the end, but all of this came out of my crappy ass basement. And admittedly, I'm a pack rat and a hoarder with a certain dramatic flair. But nonetheless, I want to think I had exactly everything I needed to cast a beautiful little show, and that it was here as I needed it. And so I believe in that principle, that we will have what we need. And things may not always be easy, God knows. And so I do believe we will have what we need. That is my belief. So blessings to you all. Have a lovely night. Thank you for coming. Tell your friends. Very soon I'm going to be set up on YouTube. And so when I'm over there, make sure and subscribe and like and stuff, because people have asked me to get it off of this channel because they don't like Instagram. Lots of people don't like Instagram, which I don't blame them, but I don't know. I kind of figure they're all the devil, so whatever. Fireman Kenny, final comments?
Oh, yes. So Portland is actually under like a state of alert because the wildfires are approaching Portland. And so just to like keep them in your thoughts.
The wildfires are approaching Portland?
Portland suburbs, yep.
Oh my goodness. So shout out to Portland. Blessings on Portland and lots of rain. Bring in lots of rain. Let's get this under control. So thank you all for coming. Bye. We love you, Portland and Northern California and Southern Washington and all the places that are screwed right now. Kenny, I can't get out from behind here. Will you hit stop?
Yes. Where's stop?
Where's the stop button? And at the top. Bye, everybody. Yep.